Hey, Jimmy with Cuff and Stuff. Well, today is a typical December day in South Carolina. Man, we've had storms come through. It's in the low 70s. It's just as muggy as it can be out here. Rest of the world may be covered up in snow, but here it's a balmy December day. Well, it's been the last several days down in the 20s. What was I looking forward to? A big pot of chili. I'm gonna cook my chili anyway. So, hang tight. Okay, well, here's what we have. I've got about 5 pounds, maybe just a little over 5 pounds of ground chuck. Now this is 80-20. If you can find 90-10 or even less, that's better. But we're gonna take and we're gonna turn the pot on high. I'm gonna take just a little bit of olive oil, and I'm gonna pour about that much in the bottom. That's probably a tablespoon and a half, 2 tablespoons. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start my onions in this. Now I know that this looked like a lot of onions. I showed cutting up some of the onions. This is 3 medium to medium small onions, and I always like to get the onions started first because it just seems to me that it takes just a little bit longer for onions to get like I want them. So let's get the onions going. All right, so I'm going to take and just start stirring these around. I want to soften them up. Now they're going to cook a lot while this chili is cooking and simmering and whatnot. And I know, looking down into the pot, that looks like a bunch of onions. Trust me, I've fine cut most of it. I've heard it said fine cut for flavor, rough cut for texture. I've got a little bit that is larger than the other, but by and large, most of it is small diced. I just cut those by hand, and oh my goodness, I love the smell of onions cooking, don't you? Okay, we've given these onions a nice head start. I've got my bell peppers, I've got my chopped up jalapeno, and I'm just going to dump the rest of these veggies in. We're going to stir them in and let them get started too. All right, we've got those softened up good. Let's go with our ground chuck. I'm going to dump the first half of that in. Now, I know I've said this before. I'm sure I'll say it another dozen times. If you don't have one of these, you're missing the boat. And every time I use it in a video, I give my daughter credit for it because she came up with this thing first. And that was the first time we had seen it. And I watched her making spaghetti. But you got ground meat you want to break up, this is the gadget. I got another half to go. More ground chuck. Dump him in and break him up. I like a meaty chili, and this is going to be a great big pot of chili. Now, Here's my secret. I don't tell everybody this, but I'm gonna tell you. I've got a pound of ground pork. This is Smithfield ground pork. I'm gonna put the whole pound in. So that's pretty much about 6 pounds of meat in this chili. I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it? All right, so let's start working all this in. Now remember, this is lean, so I'm not gonna get a pot full of grease out of this like I would with just regular hamburger meat. This ground chuck, I may get a little oil, but let's brown it. All right, last of the vegetables, sorta. This is garlic. I like garlic. I'm gonna put a heaping and then about a level tablespoon in here, and I'm gonna mix this up. Now, before it gets done, if I see just a little bit of pink in something as I roll it over, I'm not gonna panic. It's gonna cook. It's time to add the seasoning. This is Lucky Shake. Lucky Shake. Uncle Steve shake. Now, I'm gonna put a good bit of Lucky Shake in this. There we go. I'm gonna put just a touch of red pepper flakes. I'm gonna put a little bit of onion powder, and I'm not putting that much. Don't panic. Same thing with garlic powder. I put garlic in it. Yeah, I know, but your cooks will tell you. Just something about the powder. This is cumin. All right, I'm gonna put about 2 teaspoons. A little bit, because that's coarse ground salt. There's just something about the taste of tomato paste I like. You need at least a tablespoon, and that's one of my tablespoons. Next, this is a can of crushed tomatoes. It's basically tomato sauce. I'm gonna put this whole can. This is a bigger can. This is 28-ounce can. And this is fire roasted diced tomatoes. I'm gonna put 3 cans in here. There's the last one. All right. Don't tell anybody this one. I've seen a few people use this, but most people don't and don't even know about it. This is when I add it. At this point, cinnamon. Yeah, I know, cinnamon, right? This is ground cinnamon. I'm gonna put about 2 tablespoons. It's a big pot, remember? All right, well, my last ingredient until I let it simmer and I taste it and see what we need to add. Can of beer. Now, if you have a moral or maybe a physical reason you don't want to put beer, use beef broth. Personally, I like the beer better, but you go for it. I'm gonna put the whole can in here. Okay. Well, we're gonna let this cook down. We've got a can of beer in here. We're gonna take and let the pot cook down. 2.5, 3 hours. As big as this pot is, it's probably going to take 3 hours before the flavors meld all together and get where we want it. And when we do, I'll bring you back. All right, we've let this simmer for 3 hours. And I'm ready for a bowl of chili. Look at this. All right, I want a nice little dollop of sour cream. And just a little bit of cheese. Hey, it's time to try it. All right, going in. Oh my goodness. That's it. Try another one. That's so good. Folks, try this recipe. Let it simmer for a while. It'll come together. Man, that's good stuff. Hey, thanks for sticking around, seeing how this chili turned out. It is so good, you're gonna have to try it. If you haven't already, how about hitting the circle on this side and subscribe? It won't cost a dime. I'd appreciate it. I'll have another video right here for you, just you. Until next time, hang tight.